Okay, so the tips that I'm going to be using for this video are going to be these. They're not really tips, they're more of swatching tips. They're meant to be swatchers, but I didn't have anybody to use for this video, and my boyfriend's hands weren't really cooperating with me, so I just decided to do it with these. And just keep in mind that this is my first actual video into kind of demonstrating certain techniques, because I am going to be working on getting an actual ring light or something that gives my area more light, so that way that everything can be more visible. But basically what I'm going to be showing in this video is liquid to powder ratio, because I do believe that, in my opinion, liquid to powder ratio is probably one of the most important things that you can, or that you can actually use to your career. The liquid to powder ratio can either make your nails look either flawless and really pretty, where your application is just smooth and it looks like you don't even have to file anymore, or it could either be the opposite, where it's just really uneven, to where it's either too much liquid and a little bit of powder, or too much powder and not much liquid, to where your nail tips will just start breaking down. Your cuticle area won't be as smooth and round as it should be, and it's just not something that you want for your clients, and I'm sure that your clients will want that as well. So the first one that I'm going to try to show you, or well, first of all, I'm using the white acrylic powder by Mia Secret, because I do know that a lot of people do message me saying how I use my white or what white I use, because it is a hard powder, or it's considered a hard powder to use and to maneuver around the nails. Some people tell me that it gets dry way too fast, and some people think that it just, it gets all runny and liquidy around the nail, where it like spills all over. And that's not really the powder, it's more of how you're using your liquid to powder. So for example, we're gonna go into the liquid, and I'm using Mia Secret products and the whole thing. I'm using the Mia Secret liquid and the Mia Secret powder, just so y'all can kind of see how they work. So I'm going to go into here and I'm going to try to show you an example of how your nails would work if you would make your bead too wet. So basically, I do know that if the bead is too wet, you're not draining enough liquid out of your brush, which means that your powder is going to be dripping everywhere, and I'll kind of show you what it'll do to your brush. So I'm going to dip it in. I'm only going to wipe barely anything, because I do see this a lot. Pick up so little and put it on the nail. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So you see how it's running everywhere already? And I'm going to try to move it to the back of the nail, and it's getting stuck all over my brush. And this can either make your application okay, but it'll ruin it eventually. And the liquid and powder will start getting stuck and will start clumping up into your brush. So no matter how much I'm trying to, make it better, it is going to be hard, because this is what's going to be happening at the back of your brush. So if you ever do this, what you can do is wet your brush a little bit and just start patting it. And if you can see, there's like a bald spot right there, and that's literally just because you did too much liquid and not enough powder. So I'm going to show y'all again. We're going to get a bead and just get a little bit of the powder. Okay, see? And it already fell in there. So you're going to get a little bit of, a lot of liquid, not a lot of powder. And this is showing again. And see, it's already dripping off of your brush. It's not supposed to be doing that. So when you place it on there, it's like marbleizing. I don't know if y'all can see that. But it's really not supposed to be doing that. So you're going to try just to move it as good as you can, because it's just going to be a harder application, because it's going to start creating layers and it's just not going to be smooth at all. So that's basically too much liquid and not enough powder. So for the next one, I think that that's one that I do see a lot of, where it's too much powder and not enough liquid, and that can cause the bead to roll off of the nail plate, and it's just not going to be useful anymore. It's going to either cause that or it's going to be grainy. Let me try to... So if you get too little liquid and you're going to get like a huge bead of powder, and you're just going to, you know, keep dipping and keep dipping. So you're going to do this, and you see, like, I don't know if you can see it, but there's still powder coming off of this. Oh, it got stuck. So there's still powder coming off of this. So when you try to place it, it's not going to go. And there's going to be powder literally still on the bead because you didn't have enough liquid. And it's just not going to be, see, it's not going to be a really pretty application after you do that. So you're going to try, here, I'm going to try to move the light. So it's not going to move at all. It's just going to be clumping up, and it's just going to harden there. That's basically how it's just going to stay. And even if I apply more liquid and try my hardest, your cuticle area is not going to be pretty. It's going to get all over, and it's going to be just too thick because you're just going to try to put more and more acrylic over it, and it's just not going to work out. So honestly, this is worse than adding too much liquid to your powder, but you just really don't want to do this when you're applying it. Try your best to just not make it dry, because you can always fix the nail if it overflows over your cuticle, but you really can't fix something like this because it's just going to be too clumpy and it's not going to be working with you, and you're just going to get frustrated and want to stop. So you see how clumpy it is? It's just really not going to work out. Okay, so I'm going to try to show y'all how I would technically use my liquid to powder ratio. So you're going to dip your brush in really good, but you're not going to, hold on, let me zoom y'all out. So you're not going to dip it so much where the liquid's still dripping, but you don't want to take out all the liquid to where your brush is completely dry and you're literally going to pick up either nothing or a very dry bead. So what I do is I dip the brush in there, and this is for everybody that wants to know how my application is, especially with white. So I dip my powder in here, or I'm sorry, I dip my brush into the liquid, and I just take out a little bit of the excess, and I go 1, 2, and 3, and that should be a good enough bead. I dry whatever excess in the back of my brush to a napkin and place the bead. And you see how creamy that bead turns out? And it's not running anywhere, but it's also still very well in consistency. So we're gonna put it down here, and this is how you start moving it. It literally moves like butter. It starts to move, and it's like it glides with your brush if you get a good liquid to powder ratio. You can always add more liquid because you already have the cuticle area down, so the tip of the nail is always the easiest because you're just taking out all the excess out. But I usually just add more liquid just to make sure that my application is flawless. And this is how it will turn out. So it turns out like this. It's nice and smooth. There's no bumps. I think that this is such an easier way to apply your acrylic. Later on, I'm going to try to make more videos onto showing how the 2 to 3 bead application differs from just the 1 bead application. Of course, everybody has their own preference, but my preference is just the 1 bead because it does make it a faster process, and it also just makes the whole nail be a nice and full, and the whole nail, it's like the color is the same, because I know that some brands, like the colors that they have, they tend to be kind of marbly, where it's like 2 colors but it's supposed to just be one same color. So that's why I like the 1 bead more. So I'm going to show y'all again. So again, you just, hold on. So you just dip your brush in there good. Make sure you clean it out from what you used before. and you're going to just take out a little bit of the excess. Count 1, 2, and 3. Tap it out. Dry it at the back of your, or dry the back of your brush onto the napkin, and just place the bead. And it's not running anywhere, it's not moving. You could literally flip it over. But the first thing you want to do is push the bead back onto the cuticle area so that way it's nice and rounded. And you want to go into patting motions and not use it as if you're painting someone's nails, because then the powder does not work very well. So you're going to flush it down. And y'all will see if you do this, you're going to feel the powder be more buttery, and you can move it better than if you do too much liquid or if you do too little liquid and a lot of powder. So you're going to be doing this. And this part, whatever is hanging, is literally the least of your worries, because you could just, what I usually do is I just get my thumb and I just take it out. But it's a nail tip, so I'm just trying to show you how I do the application. So this is how it will turn out. Nice and flush. The application is nice and buttery. It doesn't feel like it's too dry. It doesn't feel like it's too wet. And again, if you are a beginner, this is a really good way to start, because you don't want to be having very messy work around your cuticle. But this is how the nails will look, hopefully, if you use the right liquid to powder ratio. This is when your bead was too wet. You're not able to apply it good around the cuticle. And this is when it's too dry. It literally just clumps up and it looks like a rock. And that's how your egg nails will start coming out, because they'll start rounding up in the sides and you're not able to form it. That it will make your nails look fat, and no one wants that. But yes, that is what I have to show y'all for this video. And whatever requests that y'all have for any further videos, y'all can just go ahead and let me know. Again, this is my first actual video, so any recommendations will be really well needed. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's help our little family grow. And I'll have my social media linked in the description box so that y'all can follow me as well on all of my social media. But thanks and peace.